there you all are. Welcome to the Britannia Panopticon Music Hall, a Christmas cracker. Now, I'd love to tell you how I'm looking forward to Christmas. But then I'd be a liar, wouldn't I? 'Cause Christmas is an expensive thing, you know. It's not for me. I'm Scrooge. Scrooge, do you hear me? Scrooge! Your ears must be painted on. Anyway, my name's not Cairns. It's Scrooge, so remember that. And don't be calling me Mr. Cairns, because it's not my name, okay? That Cairns is a spendthrift, is an extravagant idiot. I'm not like that. I'm Scrooge. No Cairns. Scrooge. Anyway, let's get the entertainment underway, and here's a wee lassie to sing you a song. If you like that sort of thing.
Thank you, Mr. Cairns. Now, if you know this song, you sing along. Take it away, Madam Mira. When Santa got stuck up the chimney, he began to shout, "You girls and boys won't get any toys if you don't pull me out. My beard is black, there's soot in my sack, my nose is tickling too." When Santa got stuck up the chimney, achoo, achoo, achoo. Was on the eve before Christmas Day, when Santa Claus arrived on his sleigh. Into the chimney he jumped with his sack, but he was so fat he couldn't get back. Oh, what a terrible plight! He stayed up there all night. When Santa got stuck up the chimney, he began to yell, "Oh, hurry, please, it's oh such a squeeze, the reindeer's stuck as well. His head's up there in the cold night air, now Rudolph's nose is blue." When Santa got stuck up the chimney, achoo, achoo, achoo. Rudolph pulled with all of his might, but Santa Claus was stuck very tight. He wriggled and jiggled and cried with a frown, "I'll never get up, I'll never get down. Oh, what a horrible bore, next time I'll use the door." When Santa got stuck up the chimney, he began to shout, "You girls and boys won't get any toys if you don't pull me out. My beard is black, there's soot in my sack, my nose is tickling too." When Santa got stuck up the chimney, achoo, achoo, achoo. When Santa got stuck up the chimney, he began to shout, "You girls and boys won't get any toys if you don't pull me out. My beard is black, there's soot in my sack, my nose is tickling too." When Santa got stuck up the chimney, achoo, 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 achoo.
Flurry, bow, wow, and Miss Mira Opolinsky. They tell me she's a Polish girl. Was that? Oh, no, that's right. She's a Polish girl. A Polish... I used to go out with a Polish girl myself. Her name was Cherry. Cherry Blossom. Christmas, they say, is a time for giving gifts. I don't agree with that. And I blame the three kings. Frankincense, gold and myrrh they bring for a baby. What's all that about? It should have been the three queens. Then they would have brought milk, talcum powder and disposable nappies. Gold, myrrh and frankincense. They had nae frankincense in my opinion, and nae franken gold either. Once they've given it all away, squandered. Anyway, here's a laddie with a nice wee story for you. If that's the sort of thing that twists your yum-yum.
A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Stave 1. Marley's Ghost. Marley was dead, to begin with. There was no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge that there is anything particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade. But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and my unhallowed hands shall not disturb it, or the country's done for. You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole assign, his sole residuary legatee, his sole friend and sole mourner. And even Scrooge was not so dread. Fully caught up by the sad event, but that he was an excellent man of business on the very day of the funeral, and solemnized it with an undoubted bargain. The mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I'm about to relate. If we were not perfectly convinced that Hamlet's fathers died before the play began, there would be nothing more remarkable in his taking a stroll at night, in an easterly wind upon his own ramparts, that there would be in any other middle-aged gentleman rashly turning out after dark in a breezy spot, say St. Paul's churchyard for instance, literally to astonish his son's weak mind. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood years after, above the warehouse door. Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Some people new to the business called Scrooge and sometimes Marley. But he answered to both names, and it was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner, hard and sharp as a flint, from which no steel had ever been struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shrivelled his cheek, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke shrewdly in his grating voice. A frosty rime was on his head, and on his eyebrows, and his wiry chin carried his own low temperature. Always about with him, he iced his office in the dog days, and didn't thaw 1 degree at Christmas. External heat and cold had little influence on Scrooge. No warmth could warm, no wintry weather chill him, no wind that blew was bitterer than he, no falling snow was more intent upon its purpose, no pelting rain less open to entreaty. Foul weather didn't know where to have him. The heaviest rain and snow and hail and sleet could boast of the advantage over him in only one respect. They often came down handsomely, and Scrooge never did. Nobody stopped him in the street to say, with gladsome look, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" No beggar implored him to bestow a trifle. No children asked him what it was o'clock. No man or woman ever once in all his life inquired to such a place of Scrooge. Even the blindsman's dog appeared to know him, and when they saw him coming on, would tug their owners into doorways and up courts, and then would wag their tails as though no eye is better than an evil eye, dark master. But what did Scrooge care? It was the very thing he liked, to edge his way along the crowded paths of life, warning all human sympathy to keep his distance, was what the knowing ones call nuts to Scrooge.
Oh, Ian Young there. Oh, I liked him. And he said some lovely things about Scrooge. Oh, yes. He said, "I'm not the sort to splurge." Did you hear that? I'm Scrooge, no splurge. My cousin, he's splurge, Mick Splurge actually. And I like things that are cheap as chips. Well, how much are chips these days?
£2, mate.
Oh, £2! Well, if you think £2 is cheap for chips, I tell you, I feel sorry for you. Aye, I make my own chips anyway. Aye, now candle wax. Aye, if you farm them right, they'll just like the real thing. They don't taste like them, no, they taste a bit like candle wax. But they're cheap as chips, and you can't say fairer than that. And now, here's a lady coming that nobody could say anyone was fairer than. Oh, aye, it's your Auntie Effie!
For years a fairy queen I've been. For years I thought the demon king. But alas, I'm getting on, the years have flown somehow. And I think that Fairy Effie is wanted now. Nobody loves a fairy when she's 40. Nobody loves a fairy when she's old. A fairy when she's fresh or has her pick out on the heath. These days I hardly get to pull my sceptre from its sheath. When once all the twink has left your twinkle, and you're constantly mistaken for a troll. Your fairy days are ending when you're having trouble bending. No one loves a fairy when she's old. 'Twas I who tell to Aladdin, find the cave that isn't there. 'Twas I who told Wick Dittington, turn round, you'll be Lord Mayor. I've been a fairy of the flowers, fairy daffodil. I've been a spirit o' the wind, I suffered for that still. In snow-covered valleys, I do dance in the glen, beloved by all the children, and chased after by the men. No one can touch me at me splits are all the rage. Till that night's woodsman left his axe there on the stage. Oh, what a mess. Nobody loves a fairy when she's 40. Nobody loves a fairy when she's old. I may still have my magic powers, but that is no enough. These days they want their magic from a younger bit of scruff. When you can't cast a spell without it spelling, and your tinsel looks like rust instead of gold. When finally your glitter comes out a little bitter, no one loves a fairy when she's old. Here, son, I couldn't bother you for a wee individual fruit trifle, could I? And a sherry. Lovely. Merry Christmas.
Ooh, what a lady! Oh, what a stunner! She does look a bit high maintenance though, you know, for the likes of me. I tell you, I think I've seen that lady before. Yeah, around the town. I think I saw her up that Blytheswood Square the other night. If it was her, well, you know what? You know, she asked me for money, you know, in Blytheswood Square. I said, how much money? She said, £2. I said, two pounds? I could get a bag of chips for that. Anyway, here's a wee fella coming. One of Santa's little helpers. I don't know how he can afford them. What will Rudolph followed? Oh no, look, I see this wee guy's got part of Rudolph's costume. Aye, he seems to be wearing his red nose.
Right, you North Pole newbies, this is your orientation. Christmas countdown started, there's no much time left, so prick up the pointy ears. I am Inspector Brumbley, elf number 8425, and I've been delivering this orientation speech for over 1,000 years. If I look burnt out, it's no your imagination. Now, the number one rule in Santa's workshop is, if the fat man's on the flare, everybody look busy. After that, everything's easy. Now, as you can see, we're in the main hall where all the magic happens. Just a wee tip here. If you're working next to the conveyor belt, don't wear any of the tops with the jingly sleeves. Last year, Happy the Elf lost an arm, and let me tell you, he's not very happy anymore. Anyway, now, over there we have the stables. Aye, the reindeer fly. But their poop drops to the ground just like the rest of us, so don't be surprised if the first few weeks you're on nugget patrol. And if Sneaky the Elf offers you a nugget for the stables, for your own sake, say no. Now, another couple of wee tips, basic tips, common sense really. Don't stare at Rudolph. He hates it. Aye, his nose is red, but get out of it. Also, if you see a talking, disoriented snowman walking about saying happy birthday, just smile and nod politely. He's senile, but he's harmless. No. Don't listen to any rumours about Mrs. Claus and the Easter Bunny. And especially don't mention that to Santa. And even more especially, don't mention it to Santa after he's had a couple of eggnogs. Trust me in that one, I have experience. Okay, right, that's it, you elves. So let's get to it. Back to work.
Oh, well, thank you, Inspector Brumbley. Here now, I'm going to give you one of Mr. Scrooge's Christmas tips. Now you listen. Here we go. Right, see, instead of baubles for your Christmas tree, Brussels sprouts. Left over from last year. Aye. Just run a string through them and hang them from the branches. Lovely. What's that? Oh, you want them red? Splatter them with tomato sauce. Those of you who like to lash out on condiments and things like that. Anyway, here's the Thingamy Sisters coming up with Judith, the strict choir mistress. Oh, I'm scared of her.
This poor and thing of whom we do sing, bye bye Loli, Lola.
Yes, thank you, ladies. I think we'll take a short break there.
I pure love that song, gets me all going, so it does. Oh, puts you in the mood for Christmas and that. It's difficult, but isn't it? How can you be in the mood for Christmas with this pandemic all going about? I love this wee choir, but I've got to plug myself into technology now just to see all my friends. So I've got this blooming choir. And I was looking forward to seeing you the night. But your video's all broken down, Jan.
No, it's not. I just couldn't be arsed seeing anyone the night. I needed a wee bit of pampering. They blue masks are cutting my face to shreds, so they are.
Oh, but it's a marvellous wee choir, but isn't it?
Ah, well, apart from Mistress Mima there, I'm right sick of her, Lana. She swings that baton about like a demon. I'm telling you, Jan, Lana. She's got a right bad attitude on her. She had all the wee altos greeting last week in the breakout room. Shocking it was. And she had the cheek to say that my top C's were screechy.
Well, but they were, by the way. I mean, see last week, my wee dog was burling round the living room like a Catherine wheel, was terrified. Just saying.
Don't you start, lady. You've got a short memory. What about the time she had you standing in one leg doing all the mad exercises? you turned blue and had a funny turn and you were off your work for a week. You remember that, Lana, do you? Lana, are you listening to me?
Man, she's back in the room.
What? Oh, hiya, Mima. Didn't see you there. My camera wasn't working. Zoom's a nightmare. But I was singing along.
Yes, I could hear you.
That's a lovely top you've got on. Is it for P-Mac? I've got exactly the same one in salmon pink. It's a pure bag and it's dead nice.
You could wear a bin bag and it would look magic. You could wear all the things in Primark that look fantastic.
Don't talk. I'm muting you. Sorry about that, Mima. She's always butting in and I've not had a chance to talk to you since your wee procedure. Aye, you're looking good. What a difference that has made to you. But it must be really hard for you, the new, being forlorn. I mean, you being a multi-talented musician and all the wee jobs that you had are just gone. Terrible. And that Boris Johnson Bojo, he's got the temerity to turn round and say that the musicians should be retrained. IT? What's that all about? So, I was thinking, see, since you're just at a loose end, you could maybe help me out a wee bit.
I've been on mute that whole time. Did you not hear all the things I was saying?
Have you? Aye, right, anyway.
Did you want something, girls?
Well, actually, now that you mentioned it, Mima, there is something you could actually do for us. It's going to put this choir, us Tall Crow Zoomers, firmly on the map. So it is.
I tell you what it is. We want to enter a very prestigious competition with Classic FM. Classic FM, you know what I mean? All that classical, just the stuff that you do, all the batting and everything. Well, they want you to come up with a conceptual carol, something that speaks to our struggle under the pandemic. And it's going to be judged by a top DJ.
Aye, who is it now? Oh, it's that guy, that's that guy. Alan Titsplash, Lana, that's it, isn't Titsplash's name, isn't it?
Alan Titsplash, aye.
Aye, he used to be a gardener and then he wrote all those romantic novels, lovely.
He was on the Beach Grove Garden.
No, wasn't it? It was Gardener's World. And anyway, it doesn't matter now, stop talking about that.
Beach Grove Garden. That's got anything to do with it.
I'm going to bust you, just shut up.
What do you want from me?
Well, I was thinking, see, since you're a bit of a loose end, Mima, see if you could just give us a wee run through the song. You could warm up the ivories, give a wee tinkle, and we'll sing along to this song, all right? Would you do that? That'd be great. Thanks very much. Thanks.
Excuse me, just
What?
one moment. I have to take this call.
What's she say? A call?
Yes.
What's she saying?
Yes, it is.
What?
Yes. Yes, certainly. Yes, I would most definitely. Oh, yes, indeed. Why, that would be absolutely marvelous. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, how wonderful. Thank you. Oh, how marvelous. Thank you. Yes, sorry, excuse me, girls. Business, you know, cause sadly I'm not going to be able to help you, but good luck with your ditty with Alan, Titty.
Where's she gone? Jan, what are we going to do now? She was meant to play the piano, that was meant to be Alan Titsplash. What are we going to do now?
Just calm down, Lana, right, I'm putting you in mute, just calm down, you're all right, right. I knew she was going to do that. She's all about herself. She just used us Tall Crow Zoomers to get where she wants. She's all about herself. Right, if you calm down, I'm putting you back. I'm unmuting you. Right, you're all right. Are you frozen? I can see your eyes moving. Talk to me. It's all right. Look, I've got a backup plan. I've got backing tapes. I have.
Like karaoke?
Exactly like karaoke, but better. Do you want to do that instead?
Aye, let's do it.
Right. Hit it.
C is for the COVID cough infecting all the folk. O is for the oral swabs that nearly make you broke. B is for a vaccine that will make it go away. I is for the isolation, that's what we've been trying to do. D is for the distance, 2 meters apart. X is for the kisses and hugs from my sweetheart. M is for the madness that everyone's been through. A is for those angels who nurse and tend to you. S is for some sanity around the Christmas tree. So be good and hopefully Santa will make this Christmas COVID-free. Capital C is for the COVID cough infecting all the folk. O is for the oral swabs that nearly make you broke. V is for a vaccine that will make it go away. I is for the isolation, that's what we we've been trying today. D is for the distance, 2 meters apart. X is for the kisses and hugs for my sweetheart. M is for the madness that everyone's been through. A is for those angels who nurse and look after you. S is for some sanity around the Christmas tree. So be good and hopefully Santa will make this Christmas COVID free.
I like the thing, my sisters. They make me feel right thing, me. Well, anyway, I like a laugh, me. As much as the next man. As long as the next man standing to me is I am jolly. Hey, you remember him? Oh, what a great man. I am jolly. I tell you, he used to come round to my house on Christmas Day. It was a tradition. Aye. I'd put the mistletoe in the cupboard under the stairs. And the two of us would sit in there watching the electricity meter go round and round. And see if it ever went too quick, the Reverend would jam it with a mistletoe. Oh, good Christian men rejoice with heart and soul and voice. Oh, sorry, what's it? All right, next act now. Next act. What's that? Oh, round of applause here. It's Dim Jackson.
You know, I really don't like this time of year. I'm the little fairy on top of your Christmas tree. It's really no a job I fancy. Well, would you like to be me? Or tart it up with tinsel, it's enough to make you bulk. And a couple of jagged branches rammed up the back of your frock. And these wee lights all ruin me. I can't get any sleep. There's that yearly visit for Santa. Big fat creep. Oh, the makeup. On Christmas Day, I'm stuck up there. But you're all wiring in and nobody says, "Hey you fairy, do you fancy a wee slug of gin?" It's no joke being a fairy. Job's beyond belief. The rest of the year Greenwain's beds and take away their rotten teeth. But all the jobs a fairy gets, and I've only mentioned some, the very worst is sitting up that tree with pine needles up your bum. There's my lipstick. See when all the fairies meet again by the light of the silvery moon? You can tell the Christmas fairies. There's the ones that can't sit down. Your Christmas tree's a bonny sight. The firelight softly flickers. But think of me, stuck up there with needles in my knickers. So as soon as Christmas time's right by, and I stop being so full of cheer, I'm away to fairyland. And I'll see yous all next year. Oh, I forgot to shave.
That was lovely. Let's have a round of applause for Dim Jackson. Oh, he's great, isn't he? The other day, 3 Mormon boys came to my front door. They died. And they knocked on the door and they said to me when I answered it, they said, "Can we talk to you about Jesus?" I said, Sure, why not? They said, can we come in? I said, okay, come in if you want to come in. So they came in. And they said, can we go through to the front room? I said, yes, of course you can come through. Come through to the front room, it's not a problem. So they're standing around the front room. I said, sit down, you can make yourself comfortable. So they sat down, they're just sitting there looking at each other, nobody's saying anything. So I chirped up, okay lads, well, what happens now? And they said, I don't know. We've never got this far before. And here's someone else coming now, singing another happy song. If you like that sort of thing.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where you can see everybody wants to stop. Rocking around the Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit ring. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and do some caroling. You will get a sentimental feeling when you're near. Voices singing, let's be jolly, deck the hall with balls of holly. Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where you can see everybody wants to stop. Rocking around the Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit ring. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and do some caroling. You will get a sentimental feeling when you're near. Voices singing, let's be jolly, deck the hall with balls of holly. Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. Thank you very much. Now here's Peter Crowley with an old Christmas story by Tim Brooks and McFall, 1972.
I'll tell you an old Christmas story as we sit round the log fire at night, why each Christmas tree is a fairy on top and why Santa's beard is quite white. It happened one winter in England in a dark Christmas Eve long ago. There was Santa out doing his rounds and playing on sledge in snow. He were taking all presents to houses, and then when first job were done, he went round once again with his fairies, putting Christmas trees in everyone. Now, just when he thought he might finish and last house were almost in sight, he went to fetch more trees off Tobogganing, and he found he were just 4 trees light. Well, this discovery quite upset Santa, so he gave to his reindeers a shout, "Whoa up!" and he sent for his Christmas tree fairy to chastise her for leaving them out. Ye bad gum, there's a daft little fairy, that's as daft as a fairy could be. When they packed up to sledge this evening, they must have missed off some of the trees. "Oh bugger," replied little fairy, which were really unfairy unfairy-like. "I'll have to go back to the factory." And with that she got on her bike. "Hold on a minute," cried Santa. "There's a way that won't let you forget. Fetch 1 tree for each of your fingers on right hand. You'll get it right yet." Then off like a shot went our fairy, much faster than light from the sun. 'Cause Einstein hadn't been invented, so she wasn't to know it weren't done. If you could have watched little fairy, there were trouble to come, you could tell. For when she was counting her fingers, she counted her thumbs in as well. Well, Santa, he waited for hours, till his patience were running quite dry, till at last he saw Fairy peddling for all she was worth through to sky. Then, as Fairy got nearer, and Santa's anger it grew more and more, he could see from the load she was bearing, she'd fetched him 5 trees, not 4. Then Santa got redder and redder, started roaring with all of his might, till the glow from his nose outshone Rudolph, and his beard, it began to turn white. Why, that's stupid, he yelled at the fairy. That's 4 times as thick as I'd thought. Now go and put trees in last houses, and as soon as that's finished, report. So straightway off went the fairy, and as soon as she finished last place, she brought 5th tree back to Santa and waved it in front of his face. Whatever shall I do with this one? Our innocent fairy inquired. So Santa, he upped and he told her, 'cause now he was feeling right tired. Well, our fairy looked up at Santa, and her face, it turned a mite red. But then, like a good little fairy she was, she went and did what he said. So now at the end of my story, you'll see why to this very night, each Christmas tree has a fairy on top, and old Santa's beard is quite white.
And finally, to bring a nice wee cheap evening to a nice wee close, we have the famous McScunners singing the 12 Days of Christmas, the wee swally version. And the words are bouncing along on the screen below if you want to sing along. Everybody join in with the McScunners!
On the first day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me a great big Glasgow party. On the second day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me too many fights and a great big Glasgow party. On the third day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me 3 loading friends, too many fights and a great big Glasgow party. On the 4th day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me 4 legs of words, 3 loading friends, too many fights and a great big Glasgow party. On the 5th day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me Bing Crosby sings 4-letter words, 3 loading friends, too many fights and a great big Glasgow party. On the 6th day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me 6 cans of swally Bing Crosby sings 4-letter words, 3 loading friends, too many fights and a great big Glasgow party. On the 7th day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me 7 alky singing 6 cans of swally Bing Crosby sings 4-letter words, 3 loading friends, too many fights and a great big Glasgow party. On the 8th day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me 8 Manny's nuts and 7 alky singing 6 cans of swally Bing Crosby sings 4-letter words, 3 loading friends, too many fights and a great big Glasgow party. On the 9th day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me 9 couples wenching, 8 Manny's dancing, 7 alky singing, 6 cans of swally Bing Crosby sings 4-letter words, 3 loading friends, too many fights and a great big Glasgow party. On the 10th day of Christmas, my newborn gave to me 10 lassies weeping, 9 couples couples wenching 8, Maggie's dancing 7, Alky's singing 6, Kansas Swally Pink, Crosby 6. 4-letter words, freeloading friends, too many things, and a great big Glasgow party. On the 11th day of Christmas, my new bouquet to me. 11 neighbours rolling 10, lassies weeping 9, couples wenching 8, Maggie's dancing 7, Alky's singing 6, Kansas Swally Pink, Crosby 6. 4-letter words, freeloading friends, too many things, and a great big Glasgow party. On the 12th day of Christmas, my new bouquet to me. 12 months probation, 11 neighbours moaning 10, lassies weeping 9, couples wenching 8, Maggie's dancing 7, Alky's singing 6, Kansas Swally Pink, Crosby 6. 4-letter words, freeloading friends, too many fights, and a great big Glasgow party.
Oh, that was something. Yeah, it certainly left me McScunnered anyway, I tell you that. But I'm sure you've enjoyed that just as much as you've enjoyed the whole evening here at the Britannia Panopticon Music Hall. Aye, so it falls to me, old Scroogey McScrooge, to thank everyone who has taken part in the Britannia Panopticon Music Hall Christmas cracker this evening. To Florrie Bow Wow and Mira Opalinsky, to Ian Young, to your Auntie Effie, don't forget your Auntie Effie, to Inspector Brumley with a wee red nose, to the Thingamy sisters and the strict mistress, to Dim Jackson, good old Dim, he was wonderful, to that chap that sang the modern music too, I'm not sure about him, to Peter Crilly, wasn't Peter great, and finally to the McScunners. It fair puts you in the mood for Christmas, doesn't it? For all the traditional things that happen at Christmas, like the giving of presents. I can't say it's put me in the mind to give away presents. But if it's put you in the mind to give away presents, are you thinking of giving one to me? Are you? Oh, that's often nice. Well, if you're thinking of giving one to me, I'll tell you what, I'm going to think of giving one to you. Okay, here we go. No. There. Done it. I thought about that. Well, it's the thought that counts. Night and night, everybody.
Christmas is coming. The goods is getting fat. Please put a penny into the Nocturn's hat. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do.
If you haven't got a halfpenny,
God bless you.